I had a number of subscribers ask me how to use Hema Cloud. Well, today's video is just that. Alright, welcome back everyone. Since my previous two videos where I talked about how I have my digital off-road navigation maps, Hema Maps in my case, in a tablet, I had a number of subscribers write to me and ask me about how I go about using it, how I use Hema Cloud, how I do my trip planning routes, how to sync it with the tablet, and so on. And I thought today's video is a perfect way to demonstrate that. So keep watching this video. Now, if you are new to this channel, please hit the subscription button and the notification bell because my channel is all about sharing my experiences in overlanding with the rest of the community. And I bring out a video every single week. I'll be doing this as a two-part video series. The first part, which is today's video, will be more focused on setting up routes on Hema Cloud and then syncing them back onto the maps on your tablet. The second part, which will be in a week's time, will be more focused on working the maps on the tablet. So if at the end of this video, if you've got any questions relating to the part one, leave them in the comments below and then I'll answer them in the second video. What I'm going to do in this video is give you a screen demo. So you will see step by step on the screen how I set up a route while I'm doing my pre-trip planning and then how I sync that with my tablet. So keep watching. So before I get into Hema Cloud, let's start with the tablet. So you've got to go into a tablet and go into Hema Maps, and then you got to make sure your settings are correct. So the first thing what I would suggest is go into your settings, pull down menu, and then go into your settings. Now, once you get into your settings, make sure that you have set up your Hema Cloud account. So I am on the assumption here that you have logged into the Hema website and set up an account for yourself. It's a free account that you can set up, so make sure you've done that first. And then once you get into your tablet and go into your settings, you need to insert where it says account, you've got to insert your Hema Cloud details. Once you've done that, the next important thing you've got to do is tick where it says sync with Hema Explorer Cloud. So make sure that's ticked. Now, as you can see my one, if you look to the right of the screen, you will see it's ticked and it's blue in color. So what that means is now every time I do a trip planning route on Hema Cloud, it'll automatically, as long as your Wi-Fi is switched on, it'll automatically sync with your tablet. Okay, so here we are in my Hema Cloud account. As I said a little earlier, first thing you've got to do is set up a Hema Cloud account, which is free. Once you've done that and you set up the syncing feature in your tablet, then let's go into your Hema Cloud account. Your landing page in Hema Cloud would be a gallery of pictures uploaded by various users and account holders. It's pretty interesting, so you can always come back to it. You can also, many of the users will share their routes. As you can see, there's a little icon to the bottom left of each picture that's got a route that they have planned. So you can also go and some of them will share those routes with you. So that's another cool feature. Now, but let's get into setting up a route yourself. So what you got to do is go to main maps, and that'll bring up the map of Australia, as you can see in your screen. Now, one of the things before setting up a route I want to show you is you can obviously zoom in to the map as you desire, and then you got the map layers. Hema Explorer would be your base map, as it seems it comes ticked, so that is your base map. Hema Explorer is your base map. Thereafter, you've got various layers that you can lay over your base map. Now, as you can see from the list here, you can lay over the tracks that you might have prepared, waypoints that you might have prepared. At the moment, now if I click on my tracks, you will see some of the routes that I've prepared will appear on the screen, as you can see. Now I'm going to take that out for the moment. Again, any waypoints that I may have created on Hema Cloud itself or while I'm on a trip and I'm using my tablet and I put a waypoint, once they all get synced, and if I want to see those waypoints, all I do is click on that overlay and that will show you all the, you can see my waypoints coming up. Okay, I'm going to switch that off for the moment, and so on. So for example, if you are planning a trip into, let's say, Cape York, and if you use the Cape York layer to get those more details, all you do is activate that, and you would have noticed in the Cape York area all the detailed layer map came on. So I'll show that again. I'll switch off, that goes off, and then back on again, and you'll see the Cape York overlay comes on. Similarly, let's for example assume you want to do the Victorian High Country. Come down to High Country, click, and you will see down here the details will come up. Now if I zoom into it a little bit more, there you go. So there's your Victorian High Country, and you can activate the overlay, which I've done right now, or switch it off. There you go. So it's pretty cool. So you get all the details. Now, so those are the two things that I would like you to keep in mind if you're not used Hema Maps or Hema Cloud before. Now let's dive into creating a route. So let's assume I'm in South Australia, so my trips are mostly in South Australia. So I am going to do a route, let's say, crossing the Simpson Desert. So I zoom into where the Simpson Desert is. Here we go. And let's assume, I'm going to keep it very simple for the purpose of the demonstration. So here we go. So that's the Simpson Desert on my base map. Now what I do is I go to where the map overlays are, and I'm going to activate the Great Desert Tracks overlay. And as you can see, all the details will come up. That's pretty cool. Okay, so once I've set up that layer, so let's say I want to do a route from Mount Day to Dalhousie Springs. So my start point is Mount Day, and now what I do is I go to the plus icon on the top right of the screen, and that's where you start creating a route, or you can drop a waypoint. Now when you click on that, there will be a drop down menu that appears, and it'll ask you whether you want to create a waypoint or you want to create a route. Now let's start with routes. So I click on create a route, and then I take mouse over to where it says Mount Day, because that's for the demonstration, that's my start point. Click. Once you click, you have dropped basically a start point onto your map. And for a little bit more detail, I'm gonna zoom in a bit more. There you go. So then all you do is click along the track. Now the Hema base map and the Great Deserts layer map will show you all the tracks that's available. So obviously that's your track there. So I'm going to start then clicking along that track. This is the track I want to take. So there you go, and you keep doing that. Now if you want to be more precise, you can zoom in a lot more and get more detail, and so on. Now you keep doing that until you've created your entire route. So there we go, and I've created the route all the way up to Dalhousie Springs, one of my favorite camping spots in South Australia. You're happy with that. Once you've done that, then you can go across to the left of your screen and hit that save button. So you go to the save button, and there you go. Now it allows you to give a title. So I'm going to title it Mount Day to Dalhousie Springs. All right, and then if you want to add any more notes, you can do that. You can color code the route. So I'm going to pick, let's assume, blue, and then save it. So there you go. Your route is now saved. There you go. It appears in your maps within the Hema Cloud, and that's the route that you're planning to take. Now, once you've created your route, if you'd like to share this with the general public, what you do is scroll over to the left of the screen and tick public. That means everybody else gets to see it. If you don't want to, no worries, just untick it. Again, you can put more notes here, you can put comments, whatever you want. Basically, your map is now done. Simple as. Once you've done your route planning on Hema Cloud, then all you do is go back into the tablet, go into your Hema Maps, and then what you do is go into your settings and make sure the sync has happened. It should have happened automatically. So in my case, the sync hasn't happened for some reason. So where it says last sync, tap on that, and then there you go. It just did a sync right now. So the sync has happened. And then what I do is I go back into my settings menu and then go into routes. And there you go. Mount Day to Dalhousie Springs route has now been synced and it's in my tablet. Now, as you do this more and more and more, you'll get all the routes that you have prepared synced back and forth between your tablet and the cloud and the tablet, vice versa. So there you go. So now if I tap on where it says Mount Day to Dalhousie Springs, there you go, the map details comes up. It tells you it's 90 kilometers, 90.7 kilometers, the entire route that I did. And then if I say show it on the map, all I do is tap on show it on map, and there you go. My route with all the waypoints that I created appears on the map. So there you go, you can see it starts from Mount Day. So that's the route that I intended to take when I was doing it, setting it up on the cloud. So there you go. So all the waypoints along the way. Now, once I get going with my tablet, it'll give me an indicator as to a pointer, which will show me that I am on the track. So if I deviate from the track, obviously, I will see on the map that I am deviating from the original route that I created. Now, along the way, let's say I get to a particular waypoint and I see something of interest and I want to do a little bit more recording. All I do is tap on that waypoint and there you go, I can put information. So for instance, I can add notes onto that particular waypoint, and I can later on export that as well if I wanted to. And if I wanted to take a picture, then I could do that too. Right now, it's just taking a picture of my screen. So let's assume this is what I want to put into my waypoint. Take the picture. There you go. I'm happy with that. And then that will insert that picture into that particular waypoint. I can give it a name and save it. There you go. So that picture will now stay with that particular waypoint that I just modified. So waypoint 5, that's what I modified. If I go back into my Hema Cloud, this should have been synced. So let's go and take a look. So if I go back into my Hema Cloud and I go to where my account is, drop down the menu and I go to routes, that route that I created will appear. Now the syncing should have happened automatically because as you can see onto the right of the screen, my syncing is on. So the syncing should have happened. So if you click on my route and if you see where I dropped the waypoints, then that has now been synced with my Hema Cloud. So if I clicked on that waypoint, as you can see, there is the picture I took. Now let's do another demo here. So let's go back to our main map and let's say that you are on a route. Let's say you are going, let's pick some other part of the country. So let's, for instance, Cape York area. And you are traveling along in the Cape York area and you want, okay, Bramwell Station or Bramwell Roadhouse, and you want to drop a waypoint. So all you got to do is go to your menu options at the top, the little flag icon, and you want to create a waypoint. So you create a waypoint at that particular point, give it a name. So again, I'll call it the test waypoint. And that I can then tap on that test waypoint. And then again, like I did earlier, I can attach a picture, I can put notes, whatever I want, and then save it for future use. Okay, so I go into my main map again, and the syncing should have happened automatically. And then what I do is click on my drop down menu for my account, and if I go to waypoints, it should bring up all the waypoints. Some of them are waypoints I created earlier, but the one right at the top which says test, that's the one I just created at a Bramwell Roadhouse. Click on that and it'll take me on the map there. So let's expand it so it's easier to see. That's the waypoint I created. If I click on that, there you go. If I had put in details and attached a picture and so on, that information would be there. Now on to a few other Hema Cloud features. So back in my Hema Cloud, as I said earlier in the video, your landing page would be routes that other users have shared with the rest of the community within Hema Cloud. So this is really cool because there's a lot of information you can gather from other users, other travelers. So for instance, let's say I was planning a trip to the Flinders Ranges. I can search for that, Flinders Ranges, and whatever routes others have shared from that area or the Flinders will come up. Now, for example, let's say I like this one here, which says Mari to Wilmington. Go and click on that, and that will bring up the information or the track or the route which this user has shared with the rest of the community. And as you'll see the map, you'll see all the waypoints he's dropped in. And what I really like is the stats information that comes along with it right down here. Now, if you take a look at it, it tells me how long it took this user to do that route, what the distance was, and what the average speed was. Now, the average speed is a good indicator to me as to the road conditions, because if the road was really difficult, maybe say thick sand, it was slow going, then the average speed would be a lot less. So this tells me it was a pretty good graveled road. It could have even been blacktop, I'm not too sure, or could be a bit of both, but that's a really good average speed. Total time it took him, 6 hours, 10 minutes, what the moving speed was, and the pace in terms of minutes per kilometer, that's not too important to me. How long he had stopped, that again depends on each individual. Could be stopped for sightseeing, could be stopped for taking a break. And then this last two pieces of information, the ascent and descent, I quite like that too, because it tells me whether there is heavy big climbs and descents, which can add a bit more dimension or excitement to a route. Whereas in this case, you can see this, it's not a whole lot. So it is a pretty much flat travel. That's pretty much how South Australia is anyway. Okay, so while we are still on the Hema Cloud, where we are looking at somebody else's route that they have shared with everybody else, and staying on the stats, something else that I find quite useful is the graph here. So what the graph does is it's got two worms, as you can see. So one worm shows the speed of this person's travel, and then the other worm shows the elevation. Now, what I like about it, so on this axis here, it'll tell me the elevation. This axis and the bottom axis here will tell me the speed, depending on which worm I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at the speed, you can see that he's been keeping pretty decent speed all along. There you go. And then at this point here, he stopped. So that could mean that he stopped for to take a break, or that could possibly be some kind of a lookout point, something worthwhile stopping for. So I would, if I am doing this particular route, then I would try and figure out what that is and include it into my pre-planning. And then also in terms of elevation, it gives me a fair idea of what to expect on that route. Also, now, if this person has been taking pictures along the way, and like I did in my demonstration a little earlier, where I attached a picture to a waypoint or waypoints, then these pictures will also get uploaded. So it's really great to get an idea of what to expect visually. So for instance, now let's just make this a little bit bigger. There you go. So each waypoint, if I clicked on it, it'll give me whatever information that he captured and a picture that he or she has attached to this waypoint, as you can see there. So if I clicked on that, the picture appears. and that also helps me a great deal in terms of pre-planning. Or scroll to the top here and all the pictures this person attached to each and every single waypoint comes up, and check this out. So I click on the picture gallery, and as you look at the picture, it'll associate the picture to the waypoint on the route. Let's go to another one. There you go. So the more information someone shares, or more information you share on your maps and then share with the general public, then the more informative it becomes for everybody else. So if I like this route and I see it might be very useful to me, then I scroll over here and I go to add to my tracks. So basically, the moment I hit that button and follow the prompts, this route, which this particular user has created, will become part of my routes. And at the same time, driving directions, just to touch on that, I don't really bother with that. Once you click on that, it'll take me across to like Google Maps and try and get me driving directions. I don't really bother with it. You can play around with it if you like. Then comes to the download side. Now, if you want to use this route, or this route this user has created, or even a route that you may have created yourself, and you want to use it on a different map platform, then you can download the map in the form of a GPX or KML file format, or the other one GeoJSON. You can download it in the respective file format and then upload it to a different platform. That's what it's all about. Similarly, if you got a route that you've got from some other platform, you can upload it as well. That's using the upload button here. So this is what it is. This is what I love about the Hema Maps, Hema Cloud platform, because there's a lot of information sharing. Now, while we're here, I just wanted to quickly touch on two other things. You might have been wondering, what's the difference between a track and what's the difference between a route? Waypoints I demonstrated, so you have a fair idea of what a waypoint is. Now, if I go to the main map, and I'll show you what that is. So I go into my main map and let's zoom in a bit. So what you see here, these are tracks that are already available out there, which Hema has gone out and figured out for us. So this is a track that's pre-existing. A route is something that we create for ourselves, like I did a little earlier in this video. So that's the difference between the two. So I hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscription button and the notification bell, because I bring out a video every single week. And don't forget those questions relating to today's video. If you have any, leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them in the next video, which will be out in a week's time. And thanks for watching.